Okay, Ricky Flex. Let's talk about Argylle. Matthew Vaughn, upcoming action film starring Henry Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, Samuel L. Jackson, Bryan Cranston, John Cena, and my gal, Dua Lipa. In theaters on February 2nd. This is an Apple original. Ricky Flex, your reactions to this trailer.
Okay, let me just start with this. This is much better than I thought it was going to be. Okay, now that's off the table. I still don't think this is going to be amazing. I don't see this as going to be Matthew Vaughn's Kingsman, like it promoted, right? It has the feel and look of it. It's very Matthew Vaughn Kingsman vibes with the action sequences mixed with the humor, right? Matthew Vaughn, you're thinking Kingsman 1 and 2, you're thinking The King's Man, but Kick-Ass also directed that as well. Layer Cake, also a Michael Gambon movie, shout out, connection there. But yeah, this definitely has that feel. I love seeing Henry Cavill back in a spiral. Yes, it's not James Bond, but I love seeing him back here. Sam Rockwell, freaking love the guy, one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. Something different and unique for him, an action role, and a Matthew Vaughn action role. Not just an action role, a Matthew Vaughn one, which is definitely more rigorous and harder to do. Love that. I think Dua Lipa actually looks good. I think she looks like she could actually maybe act better than Gal Gadot, maybe. Like, I actually was like surprised in how, like, I had low expectations, so I should just preface with that. So I think everything here is working. I guess I'm just more nervous with the meta-ness of it. I think the premise is okay. It's just that we've seen this before. I'm thinking last year, even with The Lost City or Seven Psychopaths, brought up once again on the Drive-In podcast. So this just has to be unique and just differentiate itself from other spy movies and other meta-like movies like this with the author that writes its own movie or book, and then it's kind of the movie. You know, it just has to be different.
I'm not sold on this movie, Ricky Flex. I love the cast, but I don't think I'm going to see most of the actors I want to see in these roles that I found most interesting, meaning a Henry Cavill, meaning a John Cena. And it seems like actually who's getting the most screen time according to this type of story where it's like the writer who lives out the story that she has created, right? We've seen that. You talk about Lost City. It's not as creative as a idea, I think, as people who maybe haven't been paying attention, never saw The Lost City, or like haven't paid attention to like Seven Psychopaths or those type of films. I'm not interested in seeing Bryce Dallas Howard for hour and a half, not even an hour. I'm not interested. I do like Sam Rockwell, and I think he's going to make those scenes tolerable, and I think he can make them good. I like seeing Sam Rockwell actually kicking some ass. I think that's great. This looked very Matthew Vaughn by the action sequences, the bright colors, and the needle drops where it goes from Let's Dance David Bowie in a seamless transition into a upbeat Suspicious Minds from Elvis Presley, who's obviously hot in the streets the last couple of years. But I don't think we're going to get a lot of Henry Cavill here. And that's what I was looking forward to in this movie, because obviously he's no longer in The Witcher. He's devoting more of his time to movies, right? He thought he was going to be playing Superman for a while. Obviously, that goes by the wayside, but you have this eccentric haircut from him, right? It kind of makes sense, right? We were like, what the hell is this haircut from Henry Cavill?
Chris Evans' Gray Man.
But when you hear it's like a fictional story set within a fictional story, I get it. It makes sense. I like it. But I think he's great in the spirals, like you're talking about, like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. To see him here, like coming back to that type of espionage, like comedy, I guess, in action, like not a thriller, but action movie. I think that's awesome. And I'm a little concerned that he won't get the screen time that I'm hoping alongside like John Cena, who's like his man in the chair, but also badass, and him like grabbing, was it Dua Lipa he grabbed off the bike and he's holding by one hand. I thought that was an awesome moment in the trailer. I'm a little bit lukewarm on it. I'm not totally turned off, but I'm pretty lukewarm. I got both faucets turned at the same length.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a proper way to look at this. This feels like a better Netflix version of these movies. You know, that's like, I guess that's a low bar, but I think it's better than that. It's just like not the peak of it. So that's why, again, lukewarm, I think, is a good way to put it. And I should just say this as well. So like Matthew Vaughn, he's now like, I won't say acclaimed, but he's a well-known and respected director. Not like to the same extent I was saying with like a James Wan the other week, But because obviously his filmography is just a lot lower. He's done Layer Cake with Daniel Craig, Kick Ass, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Nick Cage, shout out, X-Men First Class, which we love, right? So all like 3 hits right there. Then you have Kingsman, breakout, like total breakout. And then what have you done after that? Kingsman 2, which was not good, and then The King's Man, which was really bad. So
He went all in.
yeah, he you can't do that. So now he needs to adjust and he needs to regain our confidence in him. But the problem is you're in the prove it to me stage. Your name right now, like I hold respect for you, but you need to show me that you could do it again. And again, and this type of movie kind of not you're not reinventing the wheel like you did in Kingsman, but you're kind of going off something we've already seen.
It's almost like a franchise Kickstarter like Kingsman.
Yeah.
It almost feels that way.
So I'm gonna wait and see. Like you said, I think lukewarm is the right way to do it. But I think I'm gonna have fun in this movie, no doubt. And the fact that you got Samuel Jackson to come back to you shows that he respects you too. You got we didn't mention Bryan Cranston's in this.
He's the villain, I think, of this movie, which has me excited. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe this is better than this looks. I think this looks fine, but maybe it's just better than fine. Maybe it's gonna be good.
Maybe. You know, it has a shot. It avoids the January release, gets pushed to February. I think that was like an intentional thing where it's like we're not going to be released at the end of January because we know what that means. We know what audiences think if you put it in Dumpuary. And so I think I am excited for it. Matthew Vaughn really had a lot of momentum after Kingsman and after X-Men First Class. And then people were saying this guy should direct the next Superman movie. And
Crazy.
Then after Kingsman 2 came out and then The King's Man, it seems like everyone kind of jumped off that bandwagon really quick. So this is a chance to kind of re-solidify himself in the blockbuster realm. He's one of the few like original or creative blockbuster directors that doesn't go directly off like a bunch of strong source material. So that's why I am excited to see what he's putting forward in that regard. And Bryan Cranston as the villain, that's exciting. And a question that I have, and I want to pose to you, Ricky Flex, there is a moment in this trailer where they're revealing the real life Argylle. Who do you think is playing the real life Argylle? I have a couple ideas, but did this cross your mind? Did you make any names that potentially might be a cameo in this movie that really could steal the show?
Oh, you think it's someone that hasn't been mentioned yet?
I don't think it's Henry Cavill. So this Argylle, I assume, is Henry Cavill in the book.
Yes, that's what the assumption I think is. John Cena, you don't think it's John Cena?
I thought John Cena is in the book with Henry Cavill. Okay. And John Cena is on the bike grabbing Dua Lipa by like.
So it's Sam Rockwell, so obviously. Sorry, that's an obvious one.
Well, I thought it was someone that hasn't been seen before. It's like they're saving a big actor for the role, and it's going to be like it's like almost literally a cliffhanger for you to go see the movie and see who's playing Argylle in real life.
I'm slow today. Okay.
Maybe I didn't explain it well. I'm James Gunn.
Armie Hammer would be hilarious just for Mad Uncle.
That would be a jaw dropper.
I don't think so. Sorry, I just said his name just now and earlier in the pod. Chris Evans would be a great one.
Chris Evans would work, dude. And he has the same haircut as a Henry Cavill.
The Gray Man.
With the Gray Man and Henry Cavill with that almost like that Arnold type of look,
Yeah.
From the early 90s. I think potentially I think of collaborators with Matthew Vaughn. I thought James McAvoy would be a good one. Someone that was early consideration to be like a James Bond type of figure. He would be good. I also thought it's got to be a huge name and someone that's worked with Matthew Vaughn, Pedro Pascal.
Oh.
And so I had him on my radar as well. And obviously I think you were referring to Taron Egerton.
Or
I've listed Daniel Craig. That'd be very meta casting. I think that would be funny, but I think they're saving that for a big moment. I think it's going to be someone that they're hiding out of the star-studded cast. And
that's good. This is what we should be doing. I love this. It should be Taron Egerton or Daniel Craig. It should be.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's worked with him too. Potentially the next James Bond.
Yeah.
He was it.
He's got an arsenal of former actors he's worked with. Someone that he can just grab on the phone and say, "I need you for 3 scenes, maybe, and I need you to have a kick-ass action sequence, and it's a movie that's going to put me back on the map." That's going to be awesome. And I think that could really work.
It's just like Brad Pitt as the weatherman in The Lost City. Just do that role. You're on set for probably less than a week, and you're just like, you kind of steal part of the movie, and just by your cameo, but also maybe you might do a cool scene, just like Brad Pitt in The Lost City. Shout out, decent movie.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And it could follow a lot of the same patterns in the beats. Like this was kind of a mix of it felt like Bullet Train for a little bit, like with them literally on the train and the action sequences with like an older like movie star, like a Sam Rockwell performing these action sequences, almost like Brad Pitt was doing in Bullet Train to an
Yes.
extent. I think that would be it's very comparable. And then the story wise, very similar to Lost City, like you said a few times already. All right, that's gonna do it for the trailer roundup.